I'm Jen West, professional rebel of delight.
And I'm Dave Wiesdock, sage of creative scaffolding.
And this is Shadow Casting. Good day, audience. We are here for another quote day. So today's quote is from Robert Pirsig. And if you know the name, you know he's the author of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. I love that book. It's so good. I love the idea of quality and how it's not something that you could put a quantity around. It's just this thing you know when you see it, quality. The book, if you haven't read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, I highly recommend it. It's a really good book. Here's our quote for today from Robert. To live for some future goal is shallow. It's the sides of the mountain that sustain life, not the top. The only Zen you find on the top of the mountain is the Zen you bring up there.
Whew.
Exactly. What I love about this is the very last line. The only Zen you find on the top of the mountain is the Zen you bring up there. And this goes into a feeling I've had about internal martial arts as well. Because in external martial arts, it's about the technique you use, the way you punch, the way you kick, the way you throw. It's the what and the how and the mechanics of it. But when you move into internal martial arts or meditation, the how and the what are important, but only after you've cultivated the who. Who is doing the art actually decides how well you do the art. And I feel like that's what this is saying about how we live our life. It's less about looking about our goals and our future and the steps we're going to take to do it, you know, the hows and the whats. I'm going to make this much money. I'm going to get this job. What makes our life is who we are as we do the thing. And I love that idea. It's very obviously Zen and Eastern philosophy and internal martial arts.
Yeah. Okay. So my brain went a whole different kind of thought with this. And I love where you went with this too, because I see exactly where that comes in. And I think that makes a lot of sense. But my brain really, it's that second sentence. It's the sides of the mountains that sustain life, not the top. This is really interesting to me for a couple reasons, because even in our own podcast, we talk about enlightenment at the top of the mountain, surmounting the mountain, getting to the top of the mountain. And I think this quote says, well, wait a minute. Zen comes from life. And you kind of hinted at that with how you were talking about the way we show up and cultivating who we are. And you don't cultivate who you are by pausing out of life, by going to the top of the mountain and finding the Zen in front of you, as cool as that would be. And sometimes we do need to retreat or whatever to center. But the only centering we find when we try to do that is what we bring with us. Zen is a thing of context. And the only way we cultivate context is by living life. And you don't do that at the top of the mountain. You do that by being in life, by being in the sides of the mountain. To me, this is a both and kind of quality. It's, yes, there's times where you need to meditate and to find your center and how that could be a tool to calm yourself or to find that Zen. And that happens from interacting and being in life by being in the sides of the mountain. And so that part really jumped out at me. To me, it was kind of like this both and, like, yes, go find your Zen mountain, but also make sure you come down the mountain and live your life and be in life. It's both and. Life is the mountain and it happens at both spots, but where sustainable life happens, where the interactions occur, where your relationships happen, is all in the sides of the mountain.
And we all know people who have a goal and they meet that goal and then they're on to the next goal and they meet that goal. And all of the steps they're not paying to, they don't even pay attention to the goal. It's like, okay, that's done, check mark, and off to the next thing. And they're never satisfied. They're not really changing as a person because it's just the continual process. and they're not really realizing the things they're doing in the moment are changing them, are creating them, and that the goal needs to be celebrated because you did get there. And so pausing there and reflecting and allowing that goal to be there, you got to enjoy the whole path. And most people skip the actual steps they're taking. They don't honor a difficult situation in life and moving through it. They don't honor when it's easy and light. They worry the bad thing's going to come.
Right, right. And it's kind of this thing of like, especially I'm sure for our audience listening, you know, enlightenment or nirvana or heaven or some sort of spiritual awakening is probably a goal of yours if you're listening to this podcast, because you're listening to this to find ways of better understanding yourself, which is how we reach a higher spiritual level or higher spiritual understanding. And the problem is that we kind of treat it like we got to climb this mountain so we can go climb the next mountain. But I think there's a book called The Mountain Is You. It's true. Like, you are the mountain. There's only really one goal, and that's your mountain. And so rather than trying to push through to get to some sort of random point, it's about living the life and experiencing what your mountain is, who you are. And I think that's why it talks about the Zen you bring with you is what you find at the top. You cultivate the Zen from living your life. And there's moments where you do need to retreat and reflect so that way you can integrate with your experiences.
What came up for me while you were talking there was that saying that I can't remember. I was rattling it around where it's like, wherever you go, there you are. Is that
Yes.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't run away from yourself. So if you don't like your job and you don't like the people and you go to a new location, you're still going to be there and you're probably going to bring that energy and you're going to get the same sort of job and the same type of people. I think that's looking at the top of the mountain and going to the top of the mountain, but you're still going to be there. So you better live your life and cultivate yourself as you go, which is what shadow casting is. It's about learning what you're taking with you. So when you go somewhere new, you know what you're bringing along, what your baggage is.
Yeah. Do you have a challenge that you'd like to issue
Yeah.
our audience or a question?
That's a good question. I was just going to wrap it up. So yes, let's give a challenge. Let's just take a look at being aware. Are you paying attention to the actual conflict and joy that's arising in your life day to day, moment to moment, instead of just looking at your to-do list and whether things got checked off? How did you interact? What was the quality of you as you went along? Because the Zen of getting those things accomplished is the Zen of you. So take a look at that.
I think that's a great, great question and challenge for our audience. And make sure to drop it in the comments. If you feel comfortable, let us know where your Zen is and how you cultivate Zen in your own life on the sides of the mountain. And make sure to subscribe to our podcast. Share it out from wherever you're listening. Drop us a like.
And until next time.
See ya.